Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to use the TrustedTime API of Android in Godot game engine. So we will be creating an Android plugin for this. Now why to use the TrustedTime API? It is basically used to get the date and time. But the problem with Android devices is that suppose if the users change their device date and time, then you will get a wrong time if you try to use some system.current time millis API which is present in Java and Kotlin, or I'm not sure if GD script offers a date time API or not. It might, but if the user has purposefully changed the date and time, then you will get the wrong date. Some of you might be saying that okay, we will just call our server. Yes, you can do that, but if you have millions of users, it will unnecessarily increase your server cost. So in that case, you can use the TrustedTime API, which works even without an internet connection. But the only caveat is, suppose if the user reboots their device, they have to connect to the internet at least once before using this TrustedTime API. So that's the only caveat. But in case if they don't connect, we do have a fallback mechanism as well. In that case, you can either use the system.current time millis API, or maybe you can send an error back to Godot side, and Godot, inside Godot, you maybe if GD script provides a datetime API, you can use that. But yeah, that comes with a caveat, or maybe you can call your own server to get the date and time. So yeah, that's the advantage. The TrustedTime API uses Google Play services internally. That's why it requires at least the user connected to internet only once they reboot their device. So that's the only caveat. First I'll show you guys the output. So here I have one simple button, and if I click on it, I'm able to get the date and time. So I'm recording this on 19th of Feb and it is almost 10 a.m. in the morning. So yeah, I'm getting the correct date and time. Now what I'll do is I'll just go to the settings, and I will purposefully change the date. So here is our date and time. I'll just deselect this. I'll make it as 2nd of Feb, and here I will just make this as, I don't know, 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. Now again I'll just go back to our app. So this is our app, and I can again do get date and time. And here you can see I'm still able to get the proper date and time with the help of the TrustedTime API without doing any server side calls. So yeah, that's the advantage. Hopefully you got the point. So yeah, let's get started. First, as usual, if you want, I will be like, I have created one cheat sheet, so I will be referring this cheat sheet. But this cheat sheet has been created with the help of this documentation. So if you are comfortable, you can use this particular documentation as well. At the time of recording this video, I am using Godot 4.3.0, but I think you can use higher version of Godot as well if it is available. Yeah, let's get started. So as usual, you would require Android Studio installed, and you need to create an Android project. I have already created it. So to create an Android project, so I'll just quickly show it to you. So you will see something like this. You just have to click on new project, click on empty views project, click next. Give your project some name. I have given it as my Android project. Save it wherever you feel like, and then just click on finish. So I have already done this, so I'm not doing it again. Okay, so I'll just open the Android project. Now once you create your Android project, it does take a little bit of time to do all the Gradle syncing stuff, so just be patient. Once the Gradle syncing is done, you should see something like this app folder as well as this Gradle script. You won't see this my library. We have to create this. So to create this my library, you just have to right click on this app folder, new, module, Android library, and I have named it as my library. You can name it whatever you feel like, but yeah, be careful, like this name will be used in a lot places as well, so do remember this name. And we again, like I already have this, that's why it is complaining. And you can change the package name to whatever you feel like. Now do remember this package name as well. And the minimum SDK, I have kept it as 26. Again, this is also very important, because we need to set the same minimum SDK on the Godot side as well. Then you can just click on finish, and again it will take a little bit of time to do the Gradle syncing, so just be patient. Once the Gradle syncing is done, you can just go open your Gradle scripts, and here you can go to build.gradle.kts of your library. Then just scroll down, and like I told you, I'm using Godot 4.3.0 at the time of recording. That's why I'm using this over here, but if you are using higher version of Godot, you will have to replace with that particular version. Now the trusted time API requires this Google Play services time dependency, so make sure you add this as well. Now there is one bit of problem. Godot 4.3.0 uses the max SDK, Android SDK of 34. I think by Godot 4.4.0 the max SDK would be upgraded to 35, but our Android library uses SDK 35. So as you can see over here, that's why we also require this particular bit of dependency. So if you are like me using Godot 4.3.0 but your Android library is using SDK 35, then you have to use this particular dependency, Android Core KTX 1.13.1. but if you are using Godot 4.4.0 and if it targets compile SDK 35, I hope it will, then you will have to comment this one out and use this one 1.15.0. now 1.15.0 is only applicable from SDK 35, so we can't directly use it inside our Godot code, otherwise it will give you an error. Then once you have added all this, you just have to click on sync now. Here you will see a sync now button, then it will download some dependencies, so just wait for that. Once that is done, you just have to go to your library, go to Kotlin plus Java, open this first folder, and you have to just right click new Kotlin class file, and you have to name it as Godot Android plugin. As you can see, I have already created this, so I won't create it again, so I'm just showing you this. Okay, not this semicolon. Okay, so just create this Kotlin file. Once this Kotlin file is created, here you can see this again your package name might be different, so use your own package name. First you will have to add all these imports. Then once you have added all these imports, you have to use this class trusted time client accessor. Now this is boilerplate code which you have to write to create a trusted time client. Then here we create a class called Godot Android plugin. Here we create one variable for our trusted time client accessor. This is our class, and one for a trusted time client as well. Now this should be your own plugin name. Again, I have named it as my plugin. Again, this name is very important. Whatever name you give, do remember this name, because we will be using this name in lot other places as well. Then there is this Godot setup completed method as well, which gets called as soon as this plugin is initialized. So I am just initializing this trusted time client accessor by passing it to the activity, and here is our trusted time client accessor as well dot create client. Add a complete listener to it. If the task is successful, then we just assign the task result to our trusted time client. In case of exception, so here you can send a signal back to Godot side, saying that there was some exception, and in that particular case maybe you can call your own server side APIs to get date time, or maybe you can just use the system.currentTime millis which is present in Java, or maybe if GDScript provides a way to get the date time, you can use that as well. I'll show you how to send a signal as well. Then here I have overridden this get plugin signal method. Here I have just defined this particular signal called date signal. Again, you can name it whatever you feel like. Similarly, like I have created date signal, you can create an error signal as well and maybe use it over here, but I'm not going into that. Then here I have created one method called I'll just minimize this, called get date time. Now this particular method is annotated with @ used by Godot because we need to call this from GDScript side, and it runs on a UI thread. So here we just do trusted time client dot compute current unique epoch millis, and in case if there is any error, we are just falling it back to system.currentTime millis. But again, here if you want, you can send a signal saying that there was something wrong, so either call our server API or maybe use GDScript, or if you are comfortable using system.currentTime millis like I am doing, you can use that as well. Then here we just convert it to a proper date. Then here we just format it and send it back to Godot side. So this is how you can send a data back to Godot side. Okay, once this is done, you can just open your manifest, Android manifest.xml, and here I have created this application. Here we have created this metadata, and here we have given it some name. Now this should be your own plugin name. Rest everything you can copy, but this should be your own plugin name. In case if you forgot, this is your plugin name over here, and this should be your package name. Again, in case if you forgot, you can just see this should be your own package name, and you can use it over here, followed by the class name which we have created, Godot Android plugin. Okay, once that is done, just go to the project folder, and here inside my library you will have to create this particular folder called export underscore scripts underscore template. So for that you can just right click, new directory, and you can name it as export underscore scripts underscore template. Inside that you have to create two files, export underscore plugin.gd. so again just right click, new, and create a file, export underscore plugin.gd. Similarly you can do the same thing for plugin.cfg as well. Now let's look at plugin.cfg code. So again, this I have just copy pasted it from the documentation. Important thing is this should be your own plugin name. Change the description, author to whatever you feel like. Next you have to come to export underscore plugin.gd. again I have copy pasted this from the documentation as well. So yeah, everything will remain the same. Only thing is this should be your own plugin name. Like I mentioned, rest everything will remain the same. One more thing which you have to add is this get Android dependency. So apart from the Godot 4.3.0 dependency, we also added this play services time as well as core KTX, right? So make sure you add these two dependencies as well. But like I mentioned, if you are using the 1.15.0 version, you will have to replace it over here as well as over here. So be careful with that. Okay, once that is done, again I'll just go back to the Android drop down. Let me just check my cheat sheet. So I've shown you this, I've shown you this, I've shown you this as well. Okay, then you can just open your terminal, and okay, so you can just cd to your Android project. Okay, I am already inside my Android project, but yeah, you can just cd to your Android project, not to your Android library, the main Android project which you have created. And then you can just run this particular command /gradle assemble. What it will do, it will again this will take little bit of time. I have already ran this command, so it might be pretty quick for me. But basically what it will do is it will create two AR files for you. So let me quickly show it to you. So this is our Android project, right? So you will have to go to your library, build, outputs, AR. Let's just wait for this to finish, and here you can see it has created two AR files. Now we will be using this inside Godot game engine. So yeah, let's create a Godot game project. So you can just create a Godot game project inside Godot game engine. And all I have done is that I have first you will have to create a 2D scene. Inside that I have created one button and I have created one label. Okay, then I have attached one script to this. So let's see the script first. So it extends node 2D, and it has again this should be your own plugin name. This variable is for initialization of our Android plugin, and here we are just adding reference for our label. Also for our button I have added the press signal to our script as well, as you can see over here. Then inside onReady we just initialize our plugin and connect the date signal to it. So this was our signal name, so make sure you use your own signal name. If you have more signals you can connect that as well. And whenever this signal gets called, this particular method gets triggered, and I'm just updating the text of our label with whatever data we get. And on press of our button we just do Android plugin.get date time. That's it. So that's how simple it is. Next you will have to go to project, install Android build template. I have already done this, but you will, if you are doing this for the very first time, you will see a download button. Once you have downloaded, you will see an install button as well. You just have to click on install. I have already installed it, that's why it is showing me this. And once it is installed, you should see this Android folder being created for you. Then you will have to go to project, export. You will have to click on add Android. I have already added it. At the bottom over here, like near the export project button, you will see some red lines with a fix import button. Just click on it. Once you have clicked on it, make sure you check this use Gradle build option. You will have to change the min SDK to 26 because that's what we set up while creating the Android project. Target SDK, even though I have set it as 35, by default it is 34 only. If I remove it, even if you make it manually as 35 and try to update the version of the core KTX library to 1.15.0, it will throw an error. So it's better you keep it as like, if you want you can keep it as 34, but I have kept it as 35 till the time Godot itself upgrades it to 35. I think that will be in Godot 4.4.0. and here you can select the architecture of your Android device. If you don't know it, you can just select all four of this. Okay, and if you want you can change the package name as well to whatever you feel like. Typically it is com.your-company-name.your-app name. Once that is done, you can just right click and create a folder called add-ons. Inside that, create a folder called folder with your plugin name, so whatever is your plugin name. Inside that, create a folder called bin. Inside bin you have to create two folders, debug as well as release. Okay, now inside this my plugin folder or whatever is your plugin, you have to copy this export_plugin.gd as well as plugin.cfg, not inside the bin folder but outside the bin folder, these two files which we had created inside the Android Studio. So export_plugin.gd and plugin.cfg. It's very likely that you might have made some indentation mistakes, so just go to this export_plugin.gd and Godot game engine might help you. So like in case if there is any indentation mistake on your side, because Android Studio does not understand all that GD script code, maybe you can install a plugin if you want. Okay, and I have also copied this particular file as well. Then inside the bin folder, so I'll just so this is the AR files which were generated inside our library. I'll just open one more window. I'll just go to our Godot project, go to add-ons, my plugin, bin, debug, and inside the debug folder you have to copy this debug.ar file, and inside the release folder you will have to copy the release.ar file, but you will have to change the file name to whatever is your plugin name -debug.ar, and for release it should be whatever is your plugin name -release.ar. Yeah, I think so that should be it. Then you should be able to run your project. Yeah, I think that should be it. In case if you face any issues, do let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye.